I'm going to be a junior next year, and I'm really looking forward to that.
I'm Naomi Hill, and I was born April 26, 1999.
I'm Leighton. I'm a high school student from Raleigh, North Carolina.
I think that I'm not as educated on South Africa and apartheid and race relations as I should be because of society as a whole. And I think that people tell me that I'm going to have the most amazing experience of my life, and I hope I do, but I don't know if I will because I'm not sure what to expect. And I think that's okay because I'm sure I'll learn and I'm sure I'll grow.
Apartheid, really, because that's probably the only thing that I really studied, and I also think of a lot of color because of what I've been told about going to South Africa. They say that there's like 24 waterfalls over there and beautiful forests and just a lot of culture there. So I just see a lot when I hear South Africa. With a lot of color, I mean, like, you see a rainforest, you don't just think that it's just green. You see different shades of greens, you see flowers, you see animals, and that's kind of like the best way I can explain color. It's like the big rainbow, but they're there's a variety of it.
Well, the first thing that I think about is that when we're in the bus, the driver's side is going to be on the other side. That's kind of throw me off. But other than that, I think like there's not so much diversity of language where I live, and I feel like that'll be a lot different because I think it's 4 official languages that South Africa has, and just in general, I think that from what I've read, just in general in Africa, there's a lot more fluidity with language. People tend to be multilingual just normally, whereas like I only hear English day to day. On top of that, I think the people, I think I'll just see a lot more diversity in terms of race in people. I mean, in my community, it's mostly white and black people, but I think that, there's this whole different, I guess, race has been organized and was organized before apartheid ended in such a different way than it was here with Jim Crow. There's the coloreds, and when I first heard that, like, colored people, I thought, hey, that's like offensive. That's like, words we used in the 60s. That's not really how it, like, it threw me off, but that's a term that an entire group of people identify with in South Africa, and I think being able to see that and see on top of seeing, just different races of people, different people in South Africa, I think that'll be really interesting.
From what I've heard from other people, South Africa is a world entirely of its own, much like everywhere you go, but I'm interested to learn about the history and why it is the way that it is. And I think that one of the most unique things about traveling is the opportunity to not necessarily immerse yourself, but attempt to, because immersing yourself would mean that you're one with the community, which I don't necessarily know if that's true unless you decide to live there for an extended period of time. But I think that the fact that you've been given this opportunity to go somewhere and to experience someone else's way of life that's the biggest gift that you can get, and that's the coolest experience that you could ever be granted with.
Basically, I mean, 16 now, so never once left the country with my parents, never been on a plane with my parents, and so I'm the firstborn, and I told them that I want to go to South Africa, and their first expression was, huh? Oh, that was my mom. My dad was like, okay, tell me what you need. But my mom was just, no. And so I ended up talking to her for about an hour about why I wanted to come to South Africa, because I've been telling them ever since I was little that I want to travel the world. I want to see the world. And first chance I get, I'm taking it. This was the first chance. I'm taking it.
So I think it'll be really interesting to see how I re-enter just kind of normal social patterns after being through an experience which I'm sure will really change how I think about a lot of these things. But I don't know what that looks like yet, but hopefully I'll be able to continue journaling like this and document the experience along the way.
I expect my vision of South Africa to be altered, and I expect hopefully my vision about apartheid to somewhat be changed or to be clear, because I don't have as much information about it.
To be more open, to like understand that social injustice isn't just here in my community, it's worldwide. And to go into another, like to read about the apartheid over there, that's one thing, but to like actually go over there and see Robben Island, to go to Robben Island and see Nelson Mandela's cell, and to be in the communities.
Well, I think that it's one thing to have people from a different place come to you, but I think it's going to be a totally different experience to have myself surrounded and put into this place where I am the one engaging with the culture.